Good evening. Welcome to another episode of the Power Hour. I'm Steve, along with the urban sensation C.Red and the real deal, Rion Skills. Tonight, for the first time ever on the Power Hour, we welcome the man, the myth, the violent legend known as Machine. Hello, sir.
Hello.
I almost, when we logged in tonight, I almost didn't recognize you because you don't have some sort of spiked burlap sack mask on.
Yeah. I got a nice collection of those now.
Boy, it's pretty impressive. And
he doesn't have a machete in his hand, so how would you know it's him?
That was the sickest fucking promo ever. It's just a man getting ready to carve up somebody with many a knife. That certainly sent a message to the very religious St. Joe's Park for Rocket Pro Wrestling. That was that's a good call. You certainly had a lot of people on edge, but that was still a hell of a promo.
Being like wrestling there so many times throughout the years, like especially with the three rings, we got away with so much stuff that probably shouldn't have went on inside of a building like that. It's like with the religious connotations, and me walking around with a machete and
the Rocket Pro shows, they pretty much let people do what they want. There's a certain line, you can't cross, but they're pretty liberal with the storylines and whatnot. I mean, hell, we had Michael Myers wandering around the building. So, I mean, you had, as far as masked hooligans, you had a little bit of at least some running buddies that night. What I want to know is, after all this time, it's been a minute since Blitz ran in Joliet. So that means it's been a minute since Machine has been there. Were you amazed at the recognition and the respect and the cheers the Three Rings got when they showed up? I mean, obviously, you guys were fixtures in that building for a lot of years, but I mean, even with our young fans, I mean, that was one of those moments that is like, it's in my brain forever when you guys walked out and the place went absolutely batshit.
I'm gonna be honest. At when that happened, I almost started crying because I was like, it felt so good to be back and for people to remember us so fondly, and it felt so good being away for almost 3 years. I mean, it felt amazing. I put that right up there with the birth of my son.
And it was, it was such a cool moment. I mean, we've had Grin at several shows, and obviously he is always very well respected. Whenever he comes through the curtain, the people go wild. And Max has been there a time or two. But this is the first time the Three Rings as a unit. And there we go. There are some family pics right there for you.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. We've seen, one-offs, but then to have you guys with the ringmaster as a unit come out. I mean, Shelly, my broadcast colleague, one of the owners of Rocket Pro, she was giddy as a schoolgirl when that happened. She was so excited to see you guys. And then Red, almost, I think, wet his pants. He was doing the pee-pee dance because he was a little on edge because he and Grin apparently he's got some issues with you. Red, what are the issues you have with Machine?
So since he has no idea, many moons ago in the universe far, far away, 20 odd years ago.
Oh my God.
And I've told the story. So I honestly, again, met Sam, Terry, Mike Anthony, Steve Boz, at that bank. And that really got my thing I want to get into wrestling. So a friend of mine, Jim Wolf, who used to work with LWF, as far as they putting the music together and putting it on CDs, that way fans can hear their favorite entrances. That was the day when the WWF used to have entrance music on CDs. And, they were selling like hotcakes. So the LWF took advantage of that, and that was Jim's job, which was great. Because Jim had knew Billy Wag, I think he knew Venom, and he who shall remain nameless, he knew him too. And so Jim takes me to the infamous New Jack show.
Yeah.
So again, I told you, for me, that's why he who remains nameless is cool with me, because he told me to put the fucking ring down and went off on everybody else because I shouldn't have touched the ring. But yet guys that had worked the show were like bullshitting and drinking beer. And he was like, you guys haven't even unloaded the damn truck yet. Here's this guy who has nothing to do with us.
I think I was driving the ring truck.
You might have been probably driving, but I don't know. So anyway, it really got me going. And so first I went to Billy the Tiger because he offered to train me for free. So free is always good until you go all the way up north and you meet him at a park district and you're like, okay, you look and there's just mats. There's no ring, there's just mats. And now in hindsight, I can appreciate that. But coming in, it was like, no. So I called Jim and Jim was like, hey, well, I can call Whack and set you up an appointment to go to the school and visit. So he does. So I'm geeked because now for the second time in my life, I'm headed to the LWF Bump Factory, right? The coolest place on earth. And I get there and I knock, nobody answers. I knock some more, nobody answers, but you can hear somebody's in the ring, right? Finally, Whack comes, tell him Jim, since he sent me, he said he remembered me. And he's like, all right, well, I'll give you a tour and we'll talk a little bit, see what you think.
You start with the bathroom first?
No, because I walked through the door and somebody on this podcast was in full gear, full makeup, beating the shit out of some kid. I have no idea who the kid was, and I don't know if they were practicing match or what he was beating the living shit out of that boy. And I knew, and it was funny because we walked through and Wax's only thing was, oh yeah, that's our head trainer machine. She I'm about to let this dude train me and beat the shit out of me the way he beating the shit out of this kid. Fuck you. I love LWF, but I'm not getting my ass whooped by his ass. No, thank you, sir. I'm good. So from that moment on, fuck that. Sam Gisero, you ain't got no spike. Yes, sign me the fuck up. Yes. There we go. So it is because of Machine that I am part of the Windy City wrestling family. Thank you for that part, but nah, he was beating the shit out of that kid that night, and I won't no part. And I had heard of Machine. So first I heard of Machine with Steve, got rested. So
yeah, Botch.
Yeah, Botch. So I already knew the reputation. And I mean, so I don't, and back then there were all these hot rounds. And again, I was a big fan. So you would hear the results and you would hear, yes, in Machine and Botch brutalized their opponents and decimate. And I'm like, shit, I want no part of Botch or Machine, which I've come to love both of them, especially Steve, God rest his soul. But I wanted no part of their ass. So every time I turned around, I'm hearing Machine. I'm like, I don't care. Nope. So the first time I had to get in the ring with his ass, no, sir. I will clearly stay my managerial ass on the outside and let him be on the inside. And you know, it's because of him that I got tongue lashed by Teddy Long. So
Really?
What? Tongue lashed by Teddy Long.
So remember, what are we calling it? Crash tested 1.0 now? I don't know.
Yes. That was the first time I saw Machine perform live, and I was like, holy fuck.
So remember, it was the Scramble.
Oh,
and I was out there with Miles and Willie.
Oh, yeah.
And Machine comes out, huge pop. Him and
Like BOW or Ace Bradley?
Yeah, he was part of
Ace
the play.
Bradley. It's Ace Bradley at this point. But Machine has a fucking machete.
A big one.
So again, am I supposed to stand there while said monster with a machete walks towards me? I'm going to, again, so we understand we have to make it believable, right? So in a real world situation, if a huge fucking monster walks up to you with a machete, fuck this, see? And please, I need neither one of y'all to take this the wrong way. I am a black man. I have learned from Friday. I have learned from Friday the 13th. I have learned from Halloween. Fuck that. You see a fucking dude with a knife or a machete, I ain't got time to ask no questions. I ain't got time to stand around, try to figure this shit out. I'm the fuck out of there. So that's what I do.
The only black guy that ever got out of one of those movies was Busta Rhymes, and that's because he's fucking Busta Rhymes.
Well, that's
motherfucker.
him and LL, but I think it was written in their contract or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, again, so I play up that Machine is this huge monster with a machete. So we do the match.
I remember this.
And at one point, Machine grabbed the machete and pointed at me, and Ace comes running after me. Now, I fucking run the fuck out the building, right?
I remember.
Okay. I run, me and Ace, break the fourth wall. We outside in the parking lot laughing our ass off. I come back. The match is finishing. And, okay, I get Miles, I get Willie, and we go to the back. Teddy Long is standing there, and he's talking to whoever. And so I asked him, I said, hey, how did you like said match? He was like, the match was good, player, except for you. You took away too much from the workers. How the fuck did I take away from the workers when, one, I'm part of the workers, two, again, I'm playing up to everybody's strengths, right? That guess what? Yeah, I can stand up to a regular man. Fucking dude with a machete? I think not. And that's when I said, fuck Teddy Long.
That was the same night Teddy Long decided to try to pick up Angel, who was engaged to Aaron Xavier at the time, right in front of Aaron Xavier. So, I don't read a lot into Teddy Long. That is a man that has made more than one bad decision in his life. The LWF, especially now, everybody talks about the LWF with such reverence because it was such a huge entity in the psyche of just about everybody that is a fan of wrestling these days. You hear people talk about the book, obviously who was there and what they've meant to the industry, et cetera, et cetera. But you were a trainer there. And I find that to be very fascinating. What are some of your recollections of the very, very popular storied LWF?
Well, I initially first heard of it through I believe the guy's name was Mike Stern, and it was like the wrestling wrap-up report. So this had to have been like 1998, and he kept on talking about LWF, and like the show. I'm like, because I was a senior in high school. I'm like, well, fuck, might as well go to that, because the only other independent wrestling show I ever went to was Windy City Battle of the Belts '98, and so that was like the one independent wrestling show I remembered. And then I went to LWF, and it was like entirely different. Like, because that was the Pepsi Man versus Supreme shopping cart match too. And that's like that was just so amazing. And
I was there that night. That was the only time I ever saw independent wrestling before I started working in independent wrestling, was that night in Lamont, I believe it was.
Yeah, it was Lamont.
Yeah, it blew my mind, because all I knew at that point was WWE, WCW, that stuff. I had never seen an independent wrestling. I didn't even see ECW at that point, because I was a fan of wrestling, but only what you could see, what was there for public consumption. I didn't look for anything. It was just there. And then I saw that, and it opened up a whole new thing. And it was pretty amazing. That shopping cart match, I still remember it to this day.
Yeah, that was just sick, especially at that time. I mean, not only that, it was just all characters. Like, every single guy on that roster had a character that stood out. Whether it was Pledge Jones coming out with the Frat Boys, or Charcoal, amazing fucking character. But with him and Pet, that is something that I wish I could see on TV. Like, that dynamic, like Charcoal using Pet as a weapon, like power bombing him on the people, and it was just like, from top to bottom, that entire show. That's where I was like, I really want to do this, because I always wanted, ever since I was a kid, I wanted to be a professional wrestler. But when I went to that show, not only that. I mean, I was playing football. I amateur wrestled since I was like 9 years old. So, and I've always wanted to try and get in the pro. And so and plus I'm bigger than all the guys that are on this show. Like, that the 17-year-old ego just going through the roof. And I went up and asked them, after the show was over, how do I get into this? And they just sign your name down here, and we have tryouts. And sure as shit, I got called. The first time I had to do tryouts, and I made it in. And, like, side story, whenever I went to the LWF shows, like, especially with my buddies, I was an asshole. I would yell boring, especially and he hated it. So when I got in, they started yelling boring at me and chopping the hell out of me and shit like that. But I made it through. It was the same training class, I think, with me. It was me, Melmac, I forgot who else. But then I had to stop because my football coach got pissed. He's like, you can ruin our whole season. We're in the playoffs. You can't be doing that and this and that and that. So I had to stop for a little bit. And then I went back again in March. I got called back in March, and then it was like off to the races after that.
Like, it's been a hell of a career. You've had so many remarkable moments, and the LWF, that's what I loved about it too, was the characters. That's why I love so much, and we talk about it here so much, what Billy Wax doing now with Super Wrestlers, because that's what it is. It's all characters. Yeah. And if the characters weren't robust and fun, it wouldn't make any sense. And that's why we're so excited about that. But that's what was so great about you guys at the LWF. The characters were just interesting unto themselves, and they told interesting stories. And I think that gets lost a lot of places, but never there. Even at the end of the LWF, maybe it wasn't at the highs that it was in its early days, but the stories were still solid, and it was still fun to watch, even at the very end. So, the fact that you were training and you cut your teeth there, I did not know that. That is amazing stuff. So when you look back at it, do you look back at it, those are the best days of my life? It was a starting point. How do you remember the LWF personally?
Oh, all of the above. Like, it was a starting point. It was a great time. It was amazing to start there, because I mean, my first match ever, my first match ever was with CM Punk. Is that the guy we say he who should not be named?
Well, it
And
depends on who's on the show. Some people will say the name, some people won't. We leave it up to it's your creative licensing.
oh yeah, all right. Well, Punk was my first ever match, and I can't find that tape for the life of me. And I think because this was right after, like, or during that split that happened, where there was LWF, and then like all the guys that were with Punk, Havoc, Mimic, went and started Fire Pro. So I went with them, and it like all the good, all the bad. I look at it as lessons learned, because like I would like it all gets to the point of where I'm at right now. Like all the good, all the bad, all the indifferent. I look back on it with rose-colored glasses, because it's like I didn't appreciate what I had at the time, or what moments I was going through. Like especially like tag teaming with Botch, because I mean, if you at that time when we first started teaming, you would have told me what shortly 6-7 years later he'd pass away to colon cancer. I mean, I definitely would have tried so much harder for us to get to other places, like to work other places, because like every time we went to a company, they gave us a tag straps, which was amazing. I guess people, do you remember that Death Valley Driver review, that message board?
Yeah.
I think there was a guy named Confederate Mac, and he actually came to one of the LWF shows, and he said something to the effect of, the Gravediggers look like if Hawk and Animal had kids and they listened to Slipknot 24/7 or something. I was like, well, I mean, he didn't shit on us, so I mean, I
True.
that's like when I started teaming with Botch, that's where I started finding my footing in wrestling. That's where I started to see things differently, as opposed to, I was in a couple different groups. Like it was first the three rings with it was like me, Grin, ringmaster, and then a kid named Freak, who was like 6'7", but probably about 100 pounds. I always, like, with side note, like with the three rings, the third member, I always said it was like the drummer from Spinal Tap. It's always like it's always ever changing. So
I'm sure that made Max very happy.
no, I'm glad that Max stuck around. He kind of like broke that curse.
He broke the curse.
Yeah. But and then it's like, then I was in a group with when Atlas left Windy City, he came to LWF, and they gave him his own group that was called like the Fallen or something like that. And I got in there, and then Atlas left and turned into something else. And then I wound up, I don't exactly know how it happened, but it just so happened that me and Botch, like, they put us together and everything clicked. Like it was just the cliches, like it was magic, but it really was. It was like he wasn't doing anything, I wasn't doing anything. And when they put us together, that's when everything got interesting. That's when everything started to get better. And like things started to take off a little bit. So like those times, I look back, I wish I would have appreciated more, like I said, like the hindsight 2020 thing.
Yeah, it's always perspective is something that we all try to have, and everybody tries to be present in the moment, but there's so much going on at a particular time in a particular place that it's hard to actually sit back and smell the roses. And I especially as a young man, so
Yeah.
young, you're mile a minute, trying to experience and run through everything. It's hard to really have that kind of perspective that comes with age. I mean, now, having been in the business as long as you have, and then stepping away to do your family, you get to sit there for a while, and you still see everybody talking about shows that are happening. You see all the people that doing things, and you're kind of sitting there going, God, I remember that guy. I remember that. You develop a certain. You're like, oh man, God, I wonder did I leave too early? And then all of a sudden, the moment clicks, and the three rings reunite, and now you're back in it. And from the fan reaction at Darkness Falls, they don't want to let you go just yet. So I don't know if you're going to have an easy exit trying to get out of this one.
No, I think that really helped out because I wanted to get back into it because I got some personal things in my personal life that are like up and down, but I'm in a good headspace, you know, and like trying to get back into wrestling was a focus to try and get my mind off the other things that were going on. I mean, everything's good now. I'm in a great headspace, and if people are from my Facebook friend, obviously they know I've been up and down battling depression for years. And as of right now, I'm in the best mindset I have been in I don't know how long. And going to Darkness Falls and being able to go back out there again and be able to get in the ring again, like it just like everything that's going on with my life, like my job being on strike, that all went away. It was like I like that feeling. It's like how they say it's like riding a bike. And it's just like I got back on that bike and I didn't fall and I was so happy. And I thought I was gonna blow the hell up. I mean, I thought I was gonna be hacking and heaving but no, I mean, it's just everything seemed so perfect at the time. And now it's like I'm not trying to get myself to be working every weekend because let's face it, I'm 42 years old. There's a lot of younger guys, and I don't want to sit there and be that guy that's constantly, oh, put me on the show. I can do this and that. Well, I just say I don't want to be Ronnie Vegas.
Oh,
I really don't. No offense to him, but I don't want to sit there and have go out there with the skullet wearing a machine shirt that's from 20 years ago or the street fight shirt. Like that. There's a reason why older guys slow down. Like my body's breaking down, my knees suck. And that's the other thing. I wish I would have listened when I was younger, when people told me to slow it down. I finally understood it. I mean,
it takes a while to when you're young, you feel bulletproof. When you're young, you feel like you can't be stopped. You can go forever. It's never gonna change. It's always gonna be like this. Well, then time creeps in and aches and pains creep in, and it changes your perspective a little bit. Red is getting ready to go on a sabbatical at the end of this year. He's going to retire from some of the action in this business and walk away from it, much like you did a few years back. And we know better. At least I think we know better that guys that come from where you both have come from, you have committed yourselves to this business like no others. You've been doing it for decades. And, sometimes you need to walk away and feel some different things and do some different things. But you both are always going to have that little ember inside you that always wants to do it because it's what you love and it's what you've learned and it's what you've been your whole lives. It's part of you. Part of your identity is Machine. Part of Red's identity is part of Sean's identity is Red. Sometimes you can't separate it. And I've watched it 100 times. I've seen, when Ivan, walked away a few years ago, he's now, doing commentary, but he's inkling his way back because it's part of him. The Mad Dog and him and Chad, they're the same, and you can't have one. It's like yin and yang. You can't take one out of the other because it's over time you are the same. So it's totally understandable that you're at this point where you're like, what, my life is better now. I'm feeling pretty good. Obviously, people still want to see me because you cannot deny the energy in that building at Darkness Falls. And now it's just up to you to figure out where you want to go and what you want to do, because I can't imagine there are too many places that, even though your knees aren't great anymore and you don't want to be that guy that stays too long, characters like yours are not characters that come along all the time. When you paint yourself up and you get in that costume and you put your eyes in, you put your mask on, and you walk into a room, the whole eyes on you. And I was there when you came out ready to go, and everybody's like, it's the whole thing. It's the whole presentation that not everybody has. Yes, to my point, there it is. I mean, somebody's walking at you like that, whether it's in the locker room or on the street, you're going to take notice, because that's absolutely chilling. And especially at a show like Darkness Falls, that's got kind of a Halloweenish kind of thing. I mean, this is just what the doctor ordered, and those fans went nuts. So I hope that as we go forward, and that I love the burlap sack. I'm a big fan of the burlap sack look. And I remember when at Crash Tested you came out for the first time. I'm like, who the fuck is this? What is this? I mean, I knew the Plague, I knew Tommy and Bao, but I'd never seen you before, because when I was at LWF, it's such a long time ago. I have memories of some things, but not everything. But then when you came out at Crash Tested, that was a game changer. And then I saw you later after Crash Tested was gone. I saw you later at GPW, and I just kept we kept working at the same places. And then I got to watch your skill in the ring. Being a sizable human and having your skill set is something that is pretty impressive. What made you develop the kind of character? Because like I said, Machine is Machine. There's no one from east to west that can be the Machine like you can. And look at the human size that's flying through the ring right there. Now, granted, that was a few years ago, but you still, even at Darkness Falls, you were, especially for not having been in the ring for many, many moons, you still moved like Machine. It's like it was like I was transported back to that day in 2014 at Crash Tested, when you came through the gate for the first time. Like, what the fuck is this? So take us behind what makes you Machine. How did you come up with this character, and how is it metamorphosized over the years?
Well, initially, I got the name from the movie 8mm. Like, I was watching it with a friend of mine at the time, and because like my first ring name was called Torso Tombs or something like that. It was just a name that Havoc and Mimic gave me or something like that. And because I needed something quick. And what you call it. So then after watching that movie, because that for the first time seeing it, it's one of those movies that after you watch it, you feel so dirty that you have to take a shower. So that's where I got the name from. And then a short time later, that's where I actually got my first mask idea from. I had to go to a porn shop and go buy one of those say S&M masks and like do it up. And because my inspiration for the character and everything was always horror and heavy metal. So like the horror aspect, it's trying to be like your Jason, your Michael Myers, and things like that. And then like with the mask, my favorite band is Slipknot. So that's where I took the idea to put the hair in the mask, cut it out so I can actually breathe through the damn thing. And it started to evolve after that. And there's a short time after where I got sick of wearing a damn mask, so I took it off. And then I started getting used to being able to breathe for one, and being able to emote, because normally I wouldn't talk. It was just like grunting, and kind of like how when you say, "Hey Willie, how's it going?" Grunting. But yeah,
everybody knows who you're talking about when you go. Ugh. We've done the Willie impression so many times on this show; it's unbelievable.
And then I started doing the paint. And speaking of when you mentioned Ivan Manson, if it weren't for Ivan Manson getting a hold of me, it was back in like 2007, because I just left AAW because I was 400 fucking pounds and I wasn't feeling myself. I just needed something new. And when Ivan called me to come to Vanguard, it was like this church show in Calumet City. And he's like, hey, you want to work? I want to work you, and blah blah blah. Can you come down? I'm like, yeah, no problem. And me and Rat J Flywheel, we always talked about doing a gimmick kind of like how the Devil's Rejects were. And that's where everything started to pick up, like with the machete, and then the burlap sack came about because I I love video games, and my favorite series is Resident Evil. And it just so happened at that time, Resident Evil 4 came out for PlayStation 2, and there was a magazine that had that damn burlap sack in there from one of the Ganados that had he had a chainsaw and the sack on his head. So I'm like, oh, I'll try this, see what happens. And how many years later it became what it was. But it just like the look and everything it's trial and error, because there was a long time where I just had like paint down my face. I looked like a Zartan off Wish, you know. And that it was just, I think it was one day at Blitz, because that's when I lost the heavyweight belt. Thank God. That's the one thing that everyone gets in the business. I want to be heavyweight champion. I want this. I want that. And then when you get there and you realize you're the last person on the show, of course my dog is now trying to yell at me. You're the last person on the show. You have to follow what everyone else does. And 9 times out of 10, especially like since I stopped doing the frog splash as a finisher, I use the spine buster. And it's just like the super kick or the DDT. Everyone uses it as a transition. So it's like after I finally lost the belt to Grin, I had nothing to do. There was like me and Osley, but we had literally nothing to do. So they put us in the congregation with Backwoods Brown and William Jacobs. That's right. And it was kind of like his whole thing was like religious enlightenment and something like that. And I kind of like the paint style I did. I kind of thought of the Nun, from the Conjuring series. And then I kind of figured, doing something different with, like the stripe on my eye was like Marilyn Manson. And it just, and then one day I'm like, oh, I wonder what happens if I do this in X, Y, and Z. And it's like turn into what it is now. And it's like like I said, the inspiration is horror movies, because I love horror. I love Halloween. Like this is my favorite month of the year. And like heavy metal music is, and plus like growing up when I was a kid, I was the fat awkward kid, and I got picked on a lot, got my ass kicked I don't know how many times. And and now that I think about it more, I always like I was never the type of kid to like fight. It's I'm just not like that. It takes a lot to agitate me. And thinking back to all that, I wanted to be a monster, because I love the monsters I saw on TV. I wanted to be that. I wanted the people to be afraid of me, so no one would fuck with me anymore. Hence the reason why I look like this. But it's like that's where all of this came from. Is just like that little kid that kept on getting fucked with, and finally wanted to be the person that is fucking with everybody else. And yeah, and I'm sorry, Red, I fucked with you a lot.
Yes, you did. Yes, you have. But
I'll never forget. I think it was for Galley Lucha. It was me and Cyanide against I think it was Willie, Jazz, and Marche. And I just remember like this was back when Marche was probably about like 150, 170 pounds. Like he wasn't as big as he is now.
no.
And so like Marche's chops, fuck Marche's chops. Fuck things.
I believe that 100%. I've taken them. I never want to take them again.
Yeah. Well, my tag partner Cyanide, he like his chops, like, fuck those things too. But like I was a nice one in that tag team, but everyone it was just like every time we'd give one of them a move, they would scream like Jazz from the Fresh Prince of Bel Air getting thrown out of the house. But they would do it at the top of their lungs, like like high pitched. And it was so hard to keep a straight face. And then Red on the outside, like eyes like this. Like, of course, like me, love I love fucking with people. And so I believe I was chasing you around. You're like, get the fuck away from me, you motherfucker. Hey, all use. And of course, they're trying to show their asses off. So
They want some screen time. They want
yeah,
some screen time, just like we all do. We all want that. That's a beautiful dog, by the way.
yeah, I named her after Luna Vachon.
That's perfect. By the way, joining us now on the show is our resident podcast papa. It's PX. How you doing, PX?
Doing good, Steve. Heading home from work and happy and ready to join you guys. And hello, machine.
Hello, sir.
He got a great picture with you guys and the three rings at Darkness Falls. I'm really fond of it. I really, WrestleFest as Pro Wrestling Blitz, as we move into Pro Wrestling Blitz. I was there for WrestleFest 6, and you were involved in a crazy ladder match. Do you remember that match?
Yeah, it was the Congregation against the Blacklist, and that it was Tristan Hayes, very metal Brendan Conway, and taking the place of Ben McCoy of Vic Capri. So that was the first time I ever got to work fully with Vic Capri, and the dude's fucking nuts.
Yeah,
Fucking nuts.
he has left a trail of bodies and a trail of blood over his long and illustrious career, just like you have.
Remember that fucking thing? Because you remember I came out that mask with nails in it.
Yes.
Like I made that. There's like a fucking, I don't know how many pounds of roofing nails in that damn thing. And Vic goes, hit me with it. Hit me with it. I'm like, fucking sure? Yeah, hit me with it. Okay. It's like, you fucking crazy bastard.
It's guys like that escalate a situation and take it from great to unforgettable in just moments like that. It's just stuff that happens on the fly. And you guys seem to do that pretty well over the years. Take us through your Pro Wrestling Blitz experience, because they were the proprietors of St. Joe's Park for many years. And I don't think what we do at Rocket Pro would be going as well if Pro Wrestling Blitz hadn't laid the foundation in Joliet. So take us through your time at Blitz. What are some of your memories from there?
Oh, I mean, that was probably like aside from Vanguard, like I had a lot of fun. Like Vanguard was fun, and then that's like when I got the Blitz, that's when I started to really like kind of find myself, and work with different people. Like the first I think the first real program that we had in Blitz was Three Rings. When Three Rings came back together, and it was at first it was me, Grin, and Paulie Tomaselli, and then something happened with Paulie, and I think he started tagging Craig, and we brought in Judas or Tommy Reno, and we started this whole thing with Rough Crossing, and it led up to me and him at WrestleFest. WrestleFest 2, and like it was like that whole story. It felt like almost a year going, and that's where I get in the mindset. It's like I love stories, I love gimmicks, like I love telling a story, especially a long one like that. That's where we came up with the abusement park. I don't know if you guys ever saw it. Look at it. I'd say look it up on YouTube. It's Three Rings Abusement Park, and we did this whole thing where we kidnapped Rough Crossing after one of the matches and put him in a body bag and left. And like people were fucking nuts. like went nuts for it. And the whole video is that we kidnapped him, we put him in, in this place. And then that's where Grin does the whole thing from Reservoir Dogs. You like the sounds of the 70s?
That is a fantastic grid impression.
And that just morphed into, the whole like, and Blitz. I was never really taken off my feet. That was a story we were telling, and then that's being able to be in the main event at WrestleFest 2 and work with a guy like Rough Crossing. That's where I really got confident. That's where the confidence started building, and that's where it became really fun. And both of you, dang it! Yeah, I'm losing my train of thought here. It's like that's where like all the fun, like the fun started, going on and on and on. And it's like between that WrestleFest 2, working with Ruff, and then I think it was WrestleFest 3 where I worked with Abyss. Or maybe it was 3 or 4. I think it was 3. That was like a bucket list thing, like being able to work with Abyss, because again, a giant masked character that didn't talk, total mysterious like person. And both of you, are you going to really do that to me? They're assholes.
It's like children.
Yeah, the kid downstairs is being quiet.
Just standard Tuesday night, just your standard issue Tuesday night.
But being a part of Blitz, like, gave me the privilege to work with so many guys I grew up watching on TV. Like being able to work with the best, being able to work with Demolition, that was amazing. Like I don't care if they're 60 something years old. That was Demolition. You want to go outside? Hold on 1 minute.
We're gonna hold on 1 minute. Red, you still seem a little uneasy, even talking to Machine.
No.
Yeah.
No. You have to understand the love. See, Machine is one of those guys that I can play off his character so well. Because it makes sense. Yeah, I can talk shit. Yeah, but now I have to run up against this monster and pray to God he doesn't kill me. And to know him, really know him, is to love him. So to, be out in the ring is one thing, but to get to know him and have formed a friendship with him over the years, he's one of the best dudes you can fucking ask for.
Thank you.
Mike had been there for me through a lot of shit. And always, he's one of those guys, like, as soon as he walks up, he's like, Red, and if I even give him a half fucking what's up, he's like, bro, what's wrong? Like, he instantly knows I'm not me,
Because usually I'm the miserable son of a bitch.
Yeah, but I can beat your misery. Watch me.
This is quite the contest we have going here. Who's more miserable?
You know what? But I think that's what makes him an awesome person, because he's battled his shit. I've battled mine, but when I've battled mine, he has put his shit aside to check on me. That's a friend. Like, most people be like, fuck, I'm dealing with my own shit. So, fuck it, fuck you, that's never been Mike. And again, just the fact, from shit, Fire Pro, Vanguard, shit, any other fucking company we ran back and forth with. Um, it would when I get to see Mike, like life is a little bit better.
Thank you.
I get to see one of my
With
friends.
you.
I don't get to see everybody often, but he's one of those guys where I'm like, yeah, I played up the fucking three rings are coming. Oh, they about to burn this bitch down. But inside I was happy because I'm like, I get to see my friends. Like, you know, as much as I play up the grin scares the shit out of me. I love grin. I love Ringmaster.
Yeah.
I love you, Max. Thanks a lot. Um,
The black eye heard round the world. No pun
you
intended.
know,
Yeah,
but
yes, Rick.
I love Machine to death because again, it's because of him beating somebody's ass. Reason why I went to Windy City. And again, then to work with him later, like Machine was one of those guys that I never thought I would cross paths with. Because I always thought like his shit was up here. And I'm like,
Appreciate that too. Because I always thought my stuff was down here.
nah,
Oh,
dude.
no.
Again, because here's the thing what makes you so fucking special. It's your character. These guys today have no fucking clue what a character is, let alone how to create it, how to then take it and know when it's starting to become stale and reinvent it and reinvigorate it and breathe new life into it. And you've done that your entire fucking career.
No, thank
Like, you're not the same Machine that I saw years ago. Like, again, it's funny because you brought up the sack with the fucking nails, and I remember that shit. And I don't know what show we were working, and I was like, nah, he better take that shit off before he touched me. But I'm not taking no headbutt, no nothing with them damn nails sticking out. Shh. And here's the thing. Machine makes all his own shit. So you know it's fucking real. It's not like he's going to the magic store and, hey, can I get some nails that look real, but they bend and shit? No, baby. He taking his ass out in the backyard, in the woodshed, and putting that shit together. And I be thinking, what kind of time does he have on his fucking hands? Like to create that shit. I'm like, nope. Mm-mm. But again, to know him outside the ring, he's one of the fucking best guys in the world, dude. So, I have been blessed. He Mike talked about, sitting back and kind of, looking back and seeing shit. And again, for me, like he made a valid point. You know, all the good and the bad is where you are right now. It's what made you. So I can't complain. But at the same time, I look back and it's like I've been blessed with some awesome guys in my fucking life, dude.
Yeah, likewise.
You know, that if it wasn't for people like Mike, Tristan, uh, Todd, Whack, just guys that never shitted on, you know, and in this business, that's rare. That's rare because for every guy that likes you, there's two that's trying to shit on you or trying to stab you in the fucking back because they see you're going somewhere they're not going. And
Yeah.
Mike's never been like that. So he is one of the best ones for me. I've been blessed. Shit, again, And like he said, when we go out together, you know, you look at that card and you're like, oh shit, facing Machine. It's an easy night for us. It's easy. Because all I know is I got to run like a bitch. That's it.
Well, if I remember, sometimes the stars was, oh, fuck.
Dude, but, and so he brought up the Galley show. And again, so the Soul Touchers are the big shit, right? Like, we're the shit. Like, we're on the height of our shit, you know. We're Chikara, we're everywhere, you know. And they bring in Machine to Sinai. And it's like, who the fuck thought of this? Like, the only one that matches up is Willie.
They stopped bringing us back after that match.
You know, but the fun part is being up to play up to guys that have character, because now I know what I'm doing. You know, these are two monsters. Okay. I'm going to talk shit just enough, but then I'm going to be chicken shit to run the fuck away.
You do that better than anybody. Talk shit and run.
But that's what you're supposed to. If you're a manager, that's what you should do. Fuck Teddy Long. Oh, I'm going to stand there. No, I'm going to stand there. He's got a fucking machete. I'm going to let him stick it in me and then powerbomb me. Kiss my ass, Teddy. What the fuck? No. What? Make it make sense.
I thought you would put your issues with Teddy Long behind you. Apparently not.
Hey, I'm just saying, dude. I mean, so I respect everybody, and I respect people that have done far more than I ever have in this business. But make it make sense. You know, we were brought up, and if I'm wrong, Mike, let me know. We were brought up to make the fans believe what we were doing is fucking real.
Yeah, I mean,
so
that's the whole, up until a certain point, that was the whole point of the business.
Right. So again, if I decide to go out my house right now and walk to my car and there's a guy with a fucking potato sack with eye holes cut out, fucking nails sticking out, holding a machete, and he's walking towards me, you think I'm gonna stand there?
No, you run.
No,
I'm fucking
you
gonna
fast.
run
as fast as you fucking can.
Right. Again, my thing is, if I can make the people think that I'm scared, they should be scared of Machine. Whether he's a good guy or bad guy, right? He is a fucking scary individual. So everybody should be scared.
That's like everyone, you know, a lot of guys, when they say their favorite wrestlers, they're like Macho Man, you know, X, Y, and Z, you know, like the guys that know how to work. For me, like New Jack, the Road Warriors, Bruiser Brody, I was drawn to them because it was like, that shit may look fake, but that motherfucker's real. And people would think I'm crazy all the time when I said, like, I wanted to work New Jack so bad. Like that was a bucket list thing of mine. And sadly, it never got to happen, but I did get to meet him, you know, when he came to LWF. Like that was just amazing. And I remember telling the story when ECW first came to Chicago. And
the Odium.
Yeah, the Odium. And he wasn't there for some reason. I think he was either suspended or in jail, but like, and that they had RF video booth, or they were selling tapes. And so of course I got a New Jack shirt, which I still have to this day. And it was a tape, Best of New Jack. And I was going around after the show getting everyone's autograph and shit like that, you know, like a 18-year-old Mark would do. Or 18-year-old fan, because some people don't like the word Mark, whatever. And like guys like Chris Chetty, I don't know if it was Jerry Lynn, but a couple of the other guys, they're like, oh, New Japan. I'm like, no, it's not New Japan. That's a New Jack. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I told you checked that story when I met him, and he goes, "Man, fuck Chris Chetty, fuck off." He went on a fucking tirade, and I'm just like, please say more. I wanted to egg him on so bad.
Dude, for me, it was that night at the Bump Factory. And again, Punk, stick us up for me. I didn't ask him to. And then New Jack comes out with the girl, and he is fucking hammered. And I'm just like, I'm in awe because I'm like 3 feet away from New Jack.
Yeah.
And I would tell people, that's my fucking cousin. That's my cousin. And like, New Jack ain't your cousin.
You were like fucking best friends that night.
Dude, he was so fucking cool, but I was like I definitely didn't want to say shit wrong because I didn't want to catch a fork to the fucking forehead, But dude, like that was my dude.
Like, were you sitting around when he actually told the mass transit story, like before Dark Side of the Ring, before like all the shoot videos? Like
No, we had left by then. We had left by then. Like, because somebody called Jim, I think the next day, and asked him something, and he was like, "Dude, you and your friend should have stayed." And he was like, "Why? What happened?" And he was like, "Dude, New Jack told the story." And we were like, "What fucking story?" And he was like, "The real mass transit story." And it was like, fuck. Like, we would, and again, me trying to be a good husband, trying to get home at a decent time, like, oh, now, never mind. Ain't gonna tell you how I feel about her.
Don't go to, the show will never end tonight.
Yeah, the show won't, I will still be on tomorrow morning and shit. Like, fuck, gotta go to work. But yeah, dude, like for me, that weekend was special also. I made the joke that last week. So I was there for the Fan Fest the day before because I didn't realize. I waited to the last minute when somebody told me ECW was coming. So of course the tickets were sold out. And Jim says, "Hey, well, you want to go to the Fan Fest?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay, fuck it, go stand in the line. I don't know what we gonna do." I think I had like $30 and shit. I'm like, and I'm looking at the prices of everything. I'm like, I can't buy anything. But that day, I remember I fell in love with Jazz because she was shorter than me and she was cute. Francine looked horrible without makeup on. Taz was an asshole. He was, dude. He was there, but refused to come out to sign autographs. And like he literally came out with 2 minutes before the Fan Fest was over. And it was like, you asshole. Because everybody's nowhere gonna get anything signed or pictures or whatever. So it was like, fuck Taz. But I love him as a worker. But that day I said, fuck him. But it just opened my eyes to meeting new people. Like I met so many cool people that day just hanging around and talking about ECW. But shit, Machine was my walking, talking ECW. Like, fuck that. Like when he hit the fucking ring, like all bets are fucking off. Like I would be disappointed if there was no blood. I really would. Like I wanted blood every fucking time. Like I wanted somebody to believe every time. Like it's like it's Machine. Fuck that. Like you ain't gonna beat him. So what the fuck you gonna do?
it's the mystique, I think, when you see that mask and you see that face paint, everything that has come before rushes through your mind, and that's what makes it so impactful. So now that you've come back, at least for the one night, where do you want to go from here? I mean, being in a good headspace personally is huge because it will allow you to enjoy things more. But do you want to get back in? Do you want to continue to work? What are your thoughts on the future?
Yeah, actually I do. It just so happens that with the Scumbag Army and the Freebirds going head to head, and the Scumbag Army kind of being a bunch of bitch ass bullies, uh, yeah, I think Tristan and Buddy are going to need some help because every time I went to the show as a fan. They the Scumbag Army's going in and beating them down, doing the whole 5-on-1, and everyone's looking at me like, you're gonna run in? So yeah, fucking run in, help my buddies out. I mean, I like I've been on the other side of the ring with Buddy. I don't know how many times. I love him. He's one of those kids or guys that, being a second generation worker, that it never went to his head. Like he would mention, like, yeah, I was, Michael Hayes would want me to come down here. He put my name in, but I don't feel that I earned it. I looked at him, I'm like, I respect you, but at the same time, what the fuck is wrong with you? I mean, he's such a humble individual. You wouldn't even be able to tell, like he doesn't go around and flaunt like this is my dad, in that way, shape, or form. And then Tristan, oh my God, I've known that crazy son of a bitch for 20 years. He's the reason why I created the Coast to Coast Power Bomb. Yeah, it's one of those funny stories. You remember IUWA, right, Red?
Who could? Of course we do.
Red has talked about that so many times on this show.
Again, there's Paul Hall off of Halstead.
It's not opening anymore, but yeah, it's still around.
I thought they would have been closed after Chi-Town T got lit up like a Christmas tree, but
Oh hell no! Gordon used to run out of there all the time.
But I remember it to this day because Pat likes to send reminders. I'm at the show, of course, sometimes nature calls, and I'm sitting on the toilet. All of a sudden, door kicks open, and I just see a flash of light, and then all of a sudden, I hear Pat's laugh. I'm like, fucker. After a couple minutes, get out. I'm like, what the fuck's wrong with you? And he's just, he's laughing, and then all of a sudden, Chi-Town Teen's like, Machine, you're taking on Tristan Hayes pre-show. And then Pat's like, oh, fuck. This. Which, like, there's so many things with me and Tristan that it's, when something happens between us, it's always him saying, I deserve this. So I don't, there's so much of the match I don't remember. I just remember, like, I'm like, oh, this receipt's coming, motherfucker. This receipt's coming. And you remember, like, Shacktown T had a pretty big ring.
Yeah.
I remember this is when Hayes was probably like $140. And I just picked him up. And I'm on the other side of the ring. And I just went, boom, and I just fucking sent him sailing. I'm like, holy shit, he's flying. He's not stopping. And like, he just came this close from going outside of the ring. And I still hear him say, I deserve that.
So ARW, right now they are doing some incredible work. The crowds are hot. This always seems like they're filling the stadium, and they've got some really interesting stories. Chano is always good for excellent shows. So what is your perception coming back now? as to what ARW is doing now, because like I said, they, it's been really strong in Lake Station now for a couple of years. They've been really, really good.
So like when comparing to when I was there to what it is now, I mean, it's a lot. It seems like a lot bigger, and mind you, I was with ARW ever, like even when Rex Hart was running it. So that was like back in 2007, 2008. That's where I got to work Al Snow for the first time. And then when they did a restart back in January 2012, they had me and Kipper come in, or Rat J Flywheel. Sorry, Steve. They asked us to come in, and that's actually how I got Max in. Like Max is, something was going on, and I'm like, hey, dude, why don't you ride with us? So we go pick him up. I'm like, hop in the back, and he goes, should I bring my gear? I'm like, yeah, let me get your gear. And so brings his gear with, and then all of a sudden he gets put with us, and we were the first iteration of the family. It was me, Rat J, Max, and Charlie Jr. And been there from January 2012 up until a couple hiccups where Scarpone wouldn't let us work work with ARW because we were running in the Lake Station VFW across the street, all that stupid shit. You owe me $50, Scarpone, pay up. But all joking aside, like ARW's always been good to me. I always loved working there. Again, like being around Willie, being around Rat J, being just like Nick Cutler, like being able to work with so many different people. It's like Mike Anthony too. That shooter motherfucker.
Always was.
Like I can't say enough good things about ARW.
Now they have a big show that they do every year, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
Black and Blue Wednesday. Is there a outside chance that maybe a machine there might be a machine sighting at Black and Blue Wednesday?
Well, I can't confirm or deny, but just like how with the three rings and Rocket Pro, use your own imagination. I'm not going to be there. It's just a matter of, am I going to jump the ring again, or what's going to happen? Because
I have always wanted to go. I haven't been to ARW yet. I haven't had a chance to get out there because I'm always working somewhere when they're running.
So you should go with me on that Wednesday.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
Come pick me up, motherfucker.
ARW should.
No, you come to my house and I'll drive you. That way you don't have to put all those miles on your car.
Shit, them miles already on there.
Yeah, they're already on. That's true. But it's cool. At this point, with ARW and Rocket Pro, obviously there will be opportunities there. Is there anything that left that you haven't done that you want to do?
I really got inspired by egotistical fan or Robert Ego Anthony, how he's giving back to the younger guys. He's not like how I said before, like the older guys that are coming in, or I got to protect my shit and get my shit in. I think what I'd love to do is work with younger guys and try and do the best as I can and help them with whatever knowledge that is still in this CTE rattled brain that I have, and like put kids over. I mean, that's the one thing that I'd really love to do is, work with a lot of younger guys, like Gunner Brave, like that kid's a fucking nut. And
oh my God,
yeah, I fucking love to work with a fucking nut.
Yeah, he is. He doesn't care about safety, his body. I have seen him do some of the he had a lights out match. I have rarely seen the kind of violence that happened in that match. Gunnar Brave is certifiably insane, but talented as fuck.
I mean, like talking for the first time at at Rocket Pro, I'm just like, man, I fucking love this kid. He's just there's something about him, it's just like it's like one of the first time I met Tristan Hayes. There's something about this annoying little fucker, that it is just you want to be friends with him.
I love him because he's one of the only performers in all the places that I work that actually comes up to me before the show and says, "Hey, on commentary, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and don't miss this." So I at least have a fucking clue as to what's going to happen. So, whenever I call his matches, I'm ready for it.
Well, he was trained by Seth Rollins and Merrick Brave, right?
Yeah, he's a Black and Brave kid.
Yeah, that does explain a lot. Like I went to AEW and saw a bunch of their trainees on that show. I'm like, holy fuck, that's like they're putting.
Are you talking like the Conan Likens and the Shane Bouchers and the Jay Marstons? That is the cornerstone of CSW right now. So I've had the opportunity to watch all of those guys just cause hell in a handcart.
That was another thing, that got my brain going again was I went to the AAW show. I don't know if it was July or August. And that was the first time in years I went to a wrestling show as a fan. And it just being able to sit there and just watch and not do the whole I'm gonna pick everything apart because blah 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 blah. I just enjoying myself. I initially went because I wanted to see Ego. I wanted to see him, work because I haven't seen him I don't know how long. But I just top to bottom, I'm like all these younger kids, I'm like, holy fuck. Like, people told me I needed to fucking slow down when I was young. Who's that guy that's playing Terry Gordy in the Freebirds, not Freebirds movie, the Iron Claw? I think
he's in NWA. I don't know his name.
Billy something. And I feel bad that I don't remember his name right now. But holy shit, that guy's amazing. Just a big MFer and he can fly, he can work. He's like the entire total package. Like you would assume he is Terry Gordy's son. No offense to his actual, kids, but like you would assume he's like from the lineage of Terry Gordy. He is that damn good.
That's impressive.
I mean, just all those young guys. I'm just like, it reignited something in me, and like it got that fire back in my belly to try and come back and do some good, not worry about myself.
That's interesting that you say that because Conan Lycan is one of the people that you probably saw at AAW because he's everywhere right now. And he was doing a match at CSW. And on commentary, I said, I haven't seen a big man do something like that since Machine in his heyday.
Oh, so, I appreciate
it. So it's interesting that those guys are the ones that have caught your fire because Lycan, for his size, does amazing, crazy aerial things from time to time, just like you used to do. I mean, some of my favorite moments are doing things that you shouldn't be able to physically do, but you did anyway.
Yeah, I initially started doing those things not only to be different, but at the same time, like around early 2000s, that was you still had heavyweight guys that worked like heavyweight guys. There was punch, kick, whatever. And I feel bad. I keep using Ryan Vegas as a reference, but
leave the Dice Man alone.
I didn't want to be like him. I didn't want to be like your typical big guy. Like I wanted to be like Big Van Vader because Bam Bam Bigelow, they are like the benchmark for big guys that can move. that defy gravity, that,
Bam Bam was
look at
there's
him.
nobody like that dude.
Yeah, I mean, like you look at a guy and you're like, oh, this tub of shit can't fucking do X, Y, and Z, and then you're like, holy fuck, he can fucking flip. That was a big inspiration of mine, and my body hates me for it right now, but at the same time, you know, it just feels good knowing that, when, like you saying, like, being as agile as I was, I'm glad that you noticed that, and like a lot of people have noticed that.
It to me,
That was like my
yeah,
whole thing, is like I wanted to set myself apart from, your typical heavyweight wrestler.
it was so cool in the old Crash Tested days, watching you and Bow and Ace Bradley, as the Plague, and then when the Plague fell apart and you guys were fighting each other. That was some spectacular theater because you guys told great stories. And then when we were at the Midlow Dome as part of GPW, the way the crowd would get when you would walk through that curtain, it seems like everywhere I've seen you, you've created an electricity specific to yourself. And I think that's probably the best compliment I could pay you, because there are just some people, when they come out of that curtain, it has a different feeling and a different electricity. And then to see you, Grin, Max, and Ringmaster walk out through the curtain and watch, because I'm sitting there and I'm calling the action, of course, but I'm watching the crowd because I'm watching their reaction so I can comment on it. And the children were spellbound. The people that were older, that had probably been there before, the revelation in their eyes of, my God, they're back. It was unlike anything I've really seen when it comes to people coming back. You see it all the time on TV. Everybody remembers the Royal Rumble when Edge came back, and you remember the feeling in that building of electricity. That's kind of what we had there at Joliet. It's that you never expected to see this crew again, and here they are in living color. And then you all go in the ring and you do what you do, and you do it as well as you ever did it. And the crowd just went crazy. And you guys had to stay for a long time talking to people because everybody wanted a piece of the three rings after that show was over. And you guys were great. Everybody that wanted a picture, everybody that wanted to talk, you guys were all there. And, the big name talent don't always do it. They don't always give the fans the time of day. And you guys were great. And, I'm just sitting there as I'm changing, watching everybody come up to you and saying, God, I haven't seen this. And, those are magic moments. And that's what you guys do. You create magic moments. You take away and you strip away the bullshit of the problems that we have on the daily. And for a half hour in time, we're all kids again. And, that is a superpower that not everybody has. And that's a power you've had your entire career, which is what makes you such a fascinating performer.
But I mean, especially coming back after that long a time, it's like, people giving me the time of day, that, show me that appreciation. I mean, yeah, I would have stayed there for hours if there was 1,000 people, because it felt that good. Like it, like I think Stone Cold described it like, when you get that reaction, no matter where you're at, like the type of crowd, size of the crowd, that reaction is like a drug. If you can bottle up and sell it, like it would be the best thing going. And like it was such a confidence boost. Like, because I initially I'm like, it might go over like a fart in church. Like, they really give a fuck about me. I mean, I'm my own worst critic, and I'm like, I've self-deprecating humor about myself. But it just, it really put everything to perspective for me. Like, people appreciate you, people, like what you did or what you do now, and people want to see you. It just, you know, if it weren't for the people buying the tickets, I mean, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing, no matter what level you're at. You know, if it wasn't for the fans that come to the shows, I mean, we wouldn't be here. And at the same time, if you don't give those people the time of day, you know, that could be like a kid that wants to be a wrestler, and you just pretty much told him to go fuck himself, and you know, could have been a future, you know, WWE champion. You know, not saying, you know, I'm inspiring WWE champions or anything, but
I
I'm
mean,
saying,
I think that's a legitimate thing, because you never know what kid is going to come up to you, and you give them the time of day, and that makes their decision that I want to do this. I mean, Red's talking about that, just talked about many times, the moment that made him want to do this. And we'll ask you that question before we let you go. What was that moment in professional wrestling when you were young and you saw it that you said, this is something that I have to do? Because I found that everybody we asked this question to, it wasn't a matter of want. It was a matter of need. I have to do this. So did you have a moment like that when you were young, then you saw it for the first time?
I mean, my mom and dad always told me that, you know, I always pop big when, you know, the Road Warriors and Bruce Brody came on TV. You know, and I love the Road Warriors. But I think going from my furthest memory back, it was seeing Big Van Vader. Like in WCW, when he's working with Cactus Jack and Sting, and he had the giant elephant mask, you know, that had the fog coming out. Seeing him go out there, I mean, that really, really inspired me. You know, being you know, a young kid, a young fat awkward kid looking at this gigantic man that can do all these amazing things for somebody that's like 400 fucking pounds. You know, that inspired me. You know, just seeing Big Van Vader work, that's what made me want to do what I've been trying to do.
That makes an amazing amount of sense, because, your character, in many ways, you might even call it a homage to what he was,
Yeah.
with the big Van Vader masks and the things that he would come to the ring in. So now that makes all the sense in the world. Do you think being a father or becoming a father has put you in this mindset where you want to pass along your wisdom to the younger wrestlers? Do you think now you have this different parental instinct that you want to, pass your legacy along to the youth? I mean, because that would make total sense.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like, again, like the good, the bad, and different, like that's what I'd love to try and do. Like, don't worry about, you know, trying to party after the show. Like, just focus on focus on yourself. Don't get involved in, you know, all the alcohol and all the bullshit. You know, because I got myself tripped up on that for a while. And it still rears its ugly head every so often. But I for one, it's like if my son one day said, you know, Dad, I want to be a wrestler, you know, I can't say no. No,
Wow.
I love the
Machine
show.
2.0. Is the world ready for that? I don't even know.
Oh, that it was probably about 2 months ago. He We're playing and he pulled a Stan Hansen on me. He just came at me like that and just got me right in my eye. I legit could not see out of this eye for 24 hours. Like it was just like blurry. I'm like, he stiff prick. You know, kid knows how to take a power bomb, let me tell you.
He Vic Capri'd you. He Vic Capri'd you. He got you right in the eyeball.
Yeah.
It has been such a great time for us to talk to you. Under these circumstances, we all see, who you are and what you do, but to kind of get behind the mask and see what makes you tick and what has made you tick. it really adds a different dimension to my perception of you. And I hope that's what people get out of this, because you know what? Everybody's a character, but there's also their persona in real life. And sometimes the stories in real life are just as interesting and compelling as the ones that are told in the ring. And that's why we do the Power Hour, because we love the wrestling stories, but it's the personal side. It's Machine the father. It's how he got here. It's the struggles with depression. I mean, these are all things that we share. We all battle every day with a demon or two. That's a common denominator amongst everybody. Everybody's got something. Red talks about it on the show all the time. There's always something, but the common denominator is wrestling kind of brings us together and allows us to step out of our situation and do something different. And it's an escape for everybody. And I think that's, and we're talking about, meeting and marking out, per se, that's the word. But when you come down to it, you don't become a wrestler unless you're a wrestling fan first. Yeah. And when you can't work anymore, you're still going to be a fan. You're still going to watch. You're still going to follow it. There's just some of this stuff that stays with you your whole life. And I've heard, people that have had a long time in wrestling talk about it often, that even when it's over, you can't turn it off like a faucet. And, Red's got the poster behind him. We've all seen that movie and understand that story. And that's legitimate stuff. And that, that's, it's obviously wrestling, kayfabe, it's scripted. It doesn't matter what it is, but it gets under your skin. And, some people can never slip out of that skin, and for better or worse sometimes. But I think the way you are right now, having taken some time off, having become, a parent and becoming who you are, and now getting a chance to step back into it, this will be a different Machine. And I'm very interested to see what this version of Machine has to offer, because I bet that you're not done giving this world magic moments.
No, I was talking to somebody the other day. I was like, you know what? If I can be the independent version of the Boogeyman, so fucking be it. Everyone fucking remembers the Boogeyman.
He might not have won many matches, but when you need a moment that stops traffic, when he comes out with the worms, and I mean, the presentation of that character, no one will ever forget it. There are wrestlers that are forgettable. There are wrestlers that aren't forgettable. And what it comes down to is character and presentation.
Yeah, I mean, because some people remembered for the match, how well their matches look, or like how well they work. And there's some that, it's their characters, because like, but before I take off, because literally my son is like screaming. Like you look like Hulk Hogan, for example. Everyone assumes that, it's just he punch, kick, big boot, leg drop. A lot of people don't realize like his Japan stuff.
Oh my God, was he good in Japan or what? Those matches were great.
Him, Inoki, or him and Muda. I mean, it was him. I forgot who he was tagging with, but that Hogan and his tag partner against the Road Warriors. I have never seen Hogan get his ass beat like that. Like having to literally fight for his life in Japan against the Road Warriors. I mean, like people, granted, people were, people remember the work or the work rate, but it's the character that is that much more open to the people that reminisce. Like Ultimate Warrior, for the greatest example, well, Ultimate Warrior. Now I'm trying to think.
Sting. I mean, you got guys like Sting, Ric Flair. I mean, that larger than life persona, the Four Horsemen. I mean, those are the stories. Degeneration X changed the game, ushered in the Attitude Era. Stone Cold, The Rock. I mean, all of these people that have done things that have been new and different. And look at even today. I mean, when Roman Reigns started his journey, people booed him and didn't want anything to do with him. Now, he's a revered character because of the work they put into the bloodline. And what about LA Knight? He has been trying to catch on for years. Finally, his character that he has been cultivating over these years has finally caught on, and it's deservedly so. That's what makes these guys special.
Yeah, definitely. And at this point, I don't mean to cut everything off.
Oh, you got to go. You gave us an hour and a half, so you gave us a hour and a half. So, listen, you are fantastic. We appreciate it so much you coming on this show. We hope you come back someday and we can talk about what you did or didn't do at ARW Black and Blue.
Oh, definitely.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to say goodbye to Machine. You go do what you got to do, and we'll wrap up here. Thank you so much for being on the show tonight. I will tag you in this when I get it up and running.
All right. Thank you very much. Love you guys. Love you, Steve.
All right. That is the one and only Machine.
Love you too, Mike.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you so much.
All right. See you guys later.
All right. That was fun. Hey, we've had 2 of the 3 rings. Now I'm going to have to get a hold of Grin.
No, we're good.
I got to get a hold of the ringmaster.
Okay, well, I can deal with that.
Before we finish this show and go over what we have to go over before we leave, shout out to Rion Skills, who left the show a little early tonight. He's not feeling well. It was a big weekend for him, and I was hoping he'd have a chance to talk about Nightmare on Chicago Street, because I've seen some photographs and some twisted fucking shit happen.
Yeah.
Did you see all that shit?
I tried to keep up.
My goodness. The creature and all the spectacles that run in that circle. I can't remember all their names, but that was some ghastly situations that were happening up there. And the Joker and Harley Quinn, Wrestle League style, were up there, and Rion looking like Mr. Kennedy in that photo. We'll talk about it when Rion's back on the show next week, because it's our Halloween show and it's just going to be us. And there's the picture I'm talking about. It's like he's saying, Rion Skills, or something like that. Or can you feel it?
I doubt it.
I doubt it too. But, I want to get into what happened on Nightmare on Chicago Street. So we'll talk about Halloween things next week. We got some things to talk about before we go. Let's talk about SCW and Hallowmania.
Why? When I called.
You called it? You did say that. How can you have an event in a brewery and Sean Mulligan not come out on top? Boys, we have a new enemy on this show that we will be talking about a lot, and I will be hating on a lot, because he's a prick. Not Sean Mulligan, of course. He is your new Steam Hollow Brewmasters champion, and that belt will be defended at every Steam Hollow show. It won't be defended in Shabazz. It's not a belt that's defended anywhere but in the sanctity of the Steam Hollow environment. So that is a very specific title that will gain prestige, and Sean Mulligan, with a tremendous night, beating 3 men to get there, he got there, and what a win for the Irish Car Bomb.
Who did he face in the finals?
Do you want to know who we hate? Do you want to know who our new... I've had issues with the workhorses. I've had issues with the program. I've had issues with every damn body.
All right, so who is it now?
We got Benny Bogus.
Why does Benny Bogus?
Well,
despise?
I had extra duties at SCW this particular show. Not only was I doing ring announcing, but I was doing pre and post match interviews outside the ring, so the people at Steam Hollow could get a chance to talk to these people, and it would be good for when they do their shows that are going to come out on video. So, for example, after the first match, which was Eric Schultz versus James Creed won, but seriously injured his reconstructed knee to the point where the man had to be carried to the back. He couldn't walk, and he still had matches to fight because he beat Schultz, and he advanced into the second round of the tournament. And I interviewed him afterwards. I'm like, how are you going to compete in other matches tonight if you can't walk? And he says, they'll have to kill me. And that's what had to happen. I had a chance to talk to Apex, the MMA superstar. I had a chance to talk to JPH, which was a waste of my time. Apparently JPH has not changed. He is still as JPH as you want to be. But I had a chance to talk to Benny Vargas after he put Creed out. He beat Creed and injured his knee so badly that President Terry Allen had to throw in the towel to stop the match. It was brutal. I have never seen a knee bent and taken the punishment that Vargas did to Creed's knee. He obviously went into that match with a plan. And, that was his ticket to the finals, was to eliminate the sharpshooter. And Creed fought valiantly. But when you only have one leg, you can only do so much. So, and the crowd just fucking hated him. I mean, they hated him. They didn't want me to interview him. They didn't want to hear him talk. So I asked him, you beat a one-legged man. You beat a man that couldn't stand. That is as tainted a victory as I've ever seen. And he said, well, how about this for tainted? And he punched me in the jaw real hard, knocked me down and out. Hit me so hard that by the time I woke up, I had Terry Allen helping me up saying, bro, we still got to work. My jaw still hurts. And, Red, we've known each other long enough. We know that, I'll say what I say and I'll take the punches for it. But I also, try to give receipts when I get, shall we say, Pearl Harbored. So
Okay.
that guy, Benny Vargas, is on my shit list. So we're going to try to get him on the show in the new year, 2024, when and if the Power Hour comes back. Because, Red, I'm telling you right now, if you're done with the Power Hour is done. So you think long and hard about what you want to do in 24, because if you go, it's like Backdraft, bitch. You go, we go. So I'll keep booking the guests, and we'll keep doing this on Tuesday nights. But if on December 19th you say, Steve, I'm done on Tuesday nights, then Tuesday nights are done. So think long and hard about that, my friend.
Oh, thanks a lot for the pressure.
No pressure, no pressure. Aaron Xavier cheated to win again, and he gets the victory over Hunter Payne. And then in something that should trouble you greatly, Angel.
Oh, I know.
Renee Van Peebles. And I'm going to tell you what, Red. I have been watching these two fight my whole life. From my first days at PCW through Crash Tested and all the places in between. Their match Saturday night might have been the best match I've ever seen them fight. They were battling like two women possessed. Crisp, efficient, violent. The storytelling was second to none, as it usually is with those two. But it came down to it, and Angel gets the win with a little help from her friend. And this was even before Aaron Xavier got banned from ringside. And the special guest referee was Erica D'Erico, the associate of our president, Terry Allen. And after the match was over, Aaron Xavier came to celebrate with Angel, as she is now the title. So he's the man's champ. She's the women's champ. And they beat down Ms. D'Erico.
Wow.
Well, when the president caught wind of this, what do you think happened?
Oh, fight.
Terry Allen is not a young man like both of us. I have never seen Terry Allen at such a speed when he hit that ring. He was out back of the Steam Hollow Brewery, comes through the back door when he catches wind of what's going on. He flew past commentary like a bolt of lightning, got in that ring so fast and chased Xavier and Angel away. But it led to a very important announcement for the Shabbat show, Feast or Famine, that's coming up in the middle of November. So one of your feature matches that night will be Aaron Xavier and Angel in tag team action against Terry Allen and Erica D'Erico. You want to talk about bad blood? You want to sing old Taylor Swift here? Now they got bad blood.
Okay.
But what a thrill it was. You know, the program that Terry and Xavier have had has been one of the most interesting things about 2023 in this business for me. Even though I haven't had a chance to see all of it, the fact that we got to participate in it with the Power Hour and the fact of what I saw, you know, at Steam Hollow, I can't wait. I'm going to ask if I can go sit with Travis at commentary. Well played, Pac-Man. Well played indeed. Now my wife actually may watch the show because she's caught up in Kelsey Swift mania. But that's a story. That's a story. When my wife watches football, she never watches it. She don't give a fuck about it. But when Travis started doing what he's doing with Taylor Swift, is the Chiefs game on this Sunday? I'm like, 17 fucking years, and it took the pop princess dating a tight end to get you to watch football.
Hey,
that's some shit.
Whatever it takes, right?
Telling you what, boy, Roger Goodell is just cashing in. Cashing the fuck in, bro.
Hey, I ain't mad. Hey, I mean, you know, I spoke to Renee, you know, but you know, a little birdie outside told me the women's match might have just been the match of the night.
It Red, no shit. It was
no, not him. Please.
Why you got to put that shit up there? Well, Travis and I had words after the show was over. Did you get a chance to see that on social media?
I did get a chance to see it, and I joked with Travis, you guys were fighting over me, and he had said, "No, we're fighting about you."
Yeah, we're fighting because of you.
Yeah, that's the exact words he used.
Right. So, but you know, like I said, I hope Travis does come to Harvest Havoc. So, you know, when I get hit in the short ribs this time trying to help C.Red, I won't be accused of you know, not being able to get past the business end of a bat. You know, when I'm standing at arm's length with a bat, that's one thing. But when I take a shot in the ribs and can't breathe, sorry, Red. I tried to get there, but I couldn't breathe.
That's okay. I mean,
but I reminded Travis of this. General Manager Damian Saint said we can do whatever the fuck we want.
That's very true.
So I'm just saying, you know, Red and I, we don't mind a fight, right, Red?
You know, I've never mind a fight.
Even though you're in the twilight, you'll still fight.
Oh, I'm
your grandson.
I don't give a damn. You don't put hands on my grandchildren.
I'm telling you, and that's what happened. Another match that happened Saturday night of note was Scott Spade versus JFW podcast associate Turtle. Turtle was very game and actually ended up winning the match before Scott Spade and the rest of the, why can't I remember the name of they have a new faction now. The Torture Killers. The Torture Killers, Logan Steele, Kazile, Scott Spade, Mistress Misery. They have their own little association, and they came in and they beat the turtle soup out of Turtle. So when Spade said he was going to make turtle soup, he wasn't lying. And I had a chance to interview the Torture Killers after the match, and they said, we don't care about wins and losses. We care about putting people in the hospital. And when the cavalry came in, Johnny Chaos and Natasha Crane, the Torture Killers beat them down. Matter of fact, Kazile forked Johnny Chaos.
Wow.
So that was a tough thing to watch. There was nothing I could do. There was nothing I could do. it was a numbers game. It was, Terry Allen was standing right behind me, put his hand on my shoulder and said, "Sir, there's nothing you can do in a situation like this, but there will be another day." And that's the best thing about Terry Allen. He's like, you know what? Maybe you got your ass kicked tonight, but that doesn't mean you're going to get your ass kicked tomorrow. So I've always respected TA for that perspective. And, I imagine at Feast or Famine, things will look a little different if the torture killers come around.
Okay.
This weekend, there he is. There's the man. Are there many people you respect more in this business than this man?
No, not too many more. I've got much
Guys,
love.
he's one of your WC guys.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, he's one of the guys that, again, one of the first guys I met. Then once I started training, one of the guys that kept me encouraged, So, and has always been a good friend inside and outside of the ring. So, much love and respect to TA.
You got to see this man's new ride, Ed. He pulled up in his new whip, boy.
I'm sure.
I'm just saying. Sometimes you look good in a Jaguar, and then there's the way Terry Allen looks getting out of a Jaguar. It's two different things. It's two different things. This weekend, we have roller derby minors bout on Saturday. 2:00 is the start time at the Homewood Auditorium. It's my first minors bout. I am doing commentary along with Crimson Vixen. So it'd be the first time I've worked with her on commentary. So I'm looking forward to it. But I'm also looking forward to seeing what Lunala can do, because she was a guest on our show. We had Coach Beetlejuice. We had Coach Punchline. And that was one of the most memorable episodes of this show for this calendar year. When I think back on 23, I'm going to think about that show, because the joy that these people had talking about roller derby, I can't wait to see what they have in store for us this Saturday in Homewood. Doors at 1:30, action is at 2, tickets $10. If you haven't seen roller derby yet, come see it. And these kids are so well trained and are so good at what they do. It's just a joy, and I can't wait to be a part of it. I can't wait to call it. I can't wait to watch it. Something special happening in Homewood this Saturday. Don't miss out. And then on Sunday, C.Red, IPW returns to Richton Park.
I know.
And there's a lot of shit. So let's do some picks before we wrap this package. The hour is getting late, and I'm not interested in staying up till 10 o'clock tonight. The IPW Junior Heavyweight Championship is on the line in a triple threat match. Escorpion Dorado versus Jay Vanity versus the champion, the Lightning Kid, Kid Lat. What say you of this?
I'm gonna stick with Kid Lat, man. My former tag team partner. I love this kid. So I like Jay Vanity. I hate El Scorpion. So I just hope
you're going with a junior superhero. He was at Nightmare on Chicago Street too, dressed as the Boy Wonder Robin.
I know.
Played very well as well. I don't think,
which is ironic, as you'll see pictures, I'm sure, of me. So this weekend coming up. So
can't wait.
We're freaking frat. So
we'll talk about that next Tuesday.
So if he wears his, I'll wear mine.
Shit.
Let's just say that if he wears,
you're gonna be Batman and Robin.
If he wears his, I'll wear mine.
Cute. All right, I think Lat is. There's no way Lat doesn't win. In other action, a very, very competitive match. The dastardly EJ Swanson versus the confused, often misunderstood Joey Dalton. I am convinced, based on what I see, that these might be two of the best young wrestlers in the business right now. Dalton, for his size, does remarkable things with his strength and remarkable aerial tactics. And I just think he is a terrific wrestler. And EJ Swanson, the man's got a bad attitude, but he's got $1 million set of moves. What do you see in this match?
I see Dalton coming out with the win. Only because for the past few months he's shown this hunger and determination to make a name for himself. And I think with a win over someone like EJ Swanson, I think that puts him in title contention. Many title contentions. I think the office of IPW would have to certainly look, at him for various title opportunities. So
I don't disagree with you. My heart says Joey Dalton. My head says EJ Swanson will be a member of the ARC at some point. And by shenanigans, he will somehow find a way to beat Joey, and that will make everybody sad in the building. Moving on to the next match, we have the CTW Chasing Destiny Championship being defended one more time in Richmond Park at IPW. You have Jay Thunder, your current champion, one of the most impressive big man walking right now. I think if Machine had a chance to see Jay Thunder, I think Machine would be very impressed. Taking on someone that I don't know very much about. Maybe you know Red, maybe PX knows. The Great Tiger.
I have no clue. Pax?
I'm also unfamiliar.
Well, this would be a good time for our information liaison to be here, and we hope he's feeling better. I don't think there are many people in the business right now that can beat Jay Thunder, and I don't think the Great Tiger is great enough to unseat the crash-tested wrestling Chasing Destiny champion. He'll still have his belt come Crash Givings in November, but we'll see what happens on October 29th.
Very true. I don't know, because sometimes the unknown, so if we don't know, and we normally do our journalistic
Due diligence.
and we don't know who this cat is, that means Jay Thunder has no way to prepare. And I mean, he's got power and he's got muscle, strength, but we don't know what this Great Tiger is going to bring to the table. So I'm going to go with you, and I'm going to pick Jay Thunder. But I don't know.
There's
Pax,
a reason they play the games.
I mean, Jay Thunder's been dominant as champ, so I'm going to go with Jay. I think that's a safe bet.
And the next match on the docket is one that will hold great personal value to C.Red. The C3 Urban Culture Championship being defended at Rocket Pro as champion Marcelo Spade takes on one of the best in the business right now, the 80s baby. You've seen him on Netflix, OVW's own TW3. Gonna have a new champion, man. I love Marcelo Spade. The man hits harder than most, but this is TW3's time.
I'm torn.
Somewhere Chris Classic is smiling.
I know, and I'm torn. Because TW3 is the original nephew. So I got love for him. But I know Marcelo Spade. I don't trust him as far as I can throw. Marcelo Spade will do anything to hold on to that title.
That's fair.
So again, this is one of those ones where, again, my heart is with my original nephew, TW3, but my brain is just like, Spade. You know him so well. And I could see him literally slapping the ref just to get the match disqualified.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Sometimes the heart rules the mind. That's at least where I'm going with it. The next match. Oh, PX, Pac-Man. What do you got? Who do you got?
So, I mean, looking back at last month, Marcelo really showed his mean streak against TW3. And I mean, if it wasn't clear by what he had to say after he beat down TW3, Marcelo feels like he has a lot to prove, even though he's the champion. So I think if he brings that mean streak he had last month into this match, I think Marcelo will come out with the victory here.
Well, that's a pretty impressive thought process. The Specialist Traction Series returns to IPW. The Mercenary is calling in Richmond Park this month. For those of you that have never had a chance to see Garrison Creed compete, I strongly suggest you come to IPW. This guy is well, there aren't many like him, C.Red. We both know this. And
Yeah, we do. I said we know.
We know. And he's taking on the Soul Taker. And I'm looking at the Soul Taker, and I'm very impressed with the way the Soul Taker looks, but I have no knowledge of the Soul Taker.
What? You have no knowledge of?
Break it down for me, will you? I see the shovel. Is that Joey Apollon in there?
So all I know is I want to say it was a couple of years ago. This guy started making noise. And I looked at him as a Undertaker ripoff. But with that being said, we already know IPW brings in only the best talent.
We know this 100%.
So I've got to believe he's going to. I believe he can wrestle. Let's say that. Now, is he going to defeat Garrison Creed? Nah. You know, I'm going to stick with my military comrade on this one, and I am going to definitely pick Garrison Creed.
I've seen Garrison Creed waterboard a human being. I don't think there's anything Garrison Creed won't do to win a match, but I'm very interested in what the Soul Taker is and what he can do. Best believe this is going to be one of the matches of the day. And I want to apologize, Red, before we even get into this next match, because I hate to see your family embarrassed and your family destroyed. But there is no universe. There is no planet. There is no multiverse. There is no plane of existence where D'Angelo Steele beats Muggsy James. It just ain't happening. So I'm sorry. Your son's going to take a loss, and he's probably going to bleed. And the pretty psychopath won't be pretty anymore. And your second city champion will be filthy Muggsy James.
I disagree. He always has me for advice. And I think this will be a very spirited contest. But I know my son. And even though he's not wearing any sleeves in this particular photo, I know him. He has a trick or two up his tights. So let's just say. And he just got that. He's not going down without a fight. So again, unfortunately,
He's about to get his girlfriend stolen from him.
nah. So this is one where my mind this time says Muggsy, but my heart says Steele. And this time I'm going with my heart.
The sins of the father. Pac-Man?
So, I mean, when it comes to Uncle D'Angelo, I mean, Aunt Rachel, she's going to come into play because she can, he can clearly communicate with Rachel during the match, and you never quite know what exactly Rachel is whispering to my
What the
uncle.
hell is it with you, Pac-Man and inanimate objects?
Hey, don't look at me. Uncle D'Angelo's the one talking to the belt.
But you're treating the belt like it's a person.
Hey, let my grandson finish because
That's on me.
yeah,
That's on
he has
me.
So what kind of things will Rachel tell D'Angelo to do? And is Muggsy, as much as I love Muggsy, is Muggsy going to be ready for the carnage that Rachel might get D'Angelo to do?
What's your pick?
I'm going to go with D'Angelo Steele here.
Only because you're related. That's what all this boils down to. And one more thing, just for your information, on the Power Hour, there's only one Rachel, and we love her.
And we miss her.
do. But we're not talking about that Rachel. We're talking about IPW.
I'm not letting that name spoken on this show unless you're referring to the cactus. Period.
Hey,
You play your silly family game somewhere else.
hey,
Get
you were there. So
your son some help. He's still on your insurance. Get your son some help. Open up that Blue Cross Blue Shield, man. Get him some help. Sins of the father. That's what's about to happen. In other activities, let's stay with C.Red and his family. RVP, the Queen of Mean, taking on the very, very physical Brittany K. Now, the last time these two got into it, got kind of personal, Red. What do you see when you look at this match?
they got some hostility toward each other, and I'm not sure what it's about. But this was what I do know. Renee has been putting out bangers for the past few months.
That is 100% accurate.
So
Platinum blonde too.
yeah, I call her Storm now.
Yeah, we referred to her on commentary as SCW as that.
So Brittany, wow, she is a up and coming women's wrestler that is carving her own path. I think she might have been off more than she can chew. Because we know Renee's mean streak.
Queen of Mean.
We've seen it up close and personal. I've seen it up close and personal. So I don't think this, I think Brittany is coming to wrestle and Renee is coming to fight. And I think, the fight is gonna win this round.
It's Halloween. Spooky, unexpected things could happen. There are many things that go bump in the night or in the day in Richmond Park. Something tells me that young Brittany K somehow finds a way to defeat the Queen of Mean. And I don't say that lightly because we just earlier in this show said how good Renee looked Saturday night. I'm saying that with great respect. But Brittany there's just something about that girl. It's her time, maybe. But will Renee allow it? Very compelling match. That could very easily be the match of the day.
Very true.
And that brings us to our final match of the IPW.
You didn't get PAX.
Oh, I'm sorry, Pac. Pac-Man, don't go back. Shuffle back.
Oh, yep.
Who's your pick, Brittany or Renee?
So I think it's going to come down to Renee, just on experience alone. She's been dominant in so many places all over. She's been dominant in IPW, I believe, former trios champion, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
So she has a lot of experience that Brittany, while still very talented, that she doesn't have just yet. So I think the experience is going to outlast Brittany K, and Renee will walk out with the win.
That may happen. You might be right. Final match of this particular show that we know is a non-title match between champion Damian Gray and the man now known as just Daddy Andy. Dropped the hot rod, shaved his head. I don't know what this chapter in Andy's legacy will be, but I do know he's got a new mindset, a new focus, and I think that spells trouble for Damian Gray. Damian Gray knows the trouble is coming because he's not defending his title, because the man is a coward. Andy wins it and sends a message to the champion, and there will be a rematch. That's my pick.
I agree. First of all, Gray is a coward, because if you weren't worried, why not give him a title opportunity? But Gray needs to understand what has transpired over the past 4 or 5 months with him, his affiliation, and with me, my grandson, you. Like, the line is getting long. Damian Gray better bring that back. Not a phony switchblade comb. He better bring it back. Because there's going to come a time and a place where we're tired. We're fed up. And he must fall. So whether it is by my hands, your hands, my grandson's hands, Damian Gray will fall. So I am picked Daddy Andy also.
Pac-Man?
So hard for me to go into this match considering current events without being a little biased. I mean, when you think about the match this way, Daddy Andy is a member of LIM.
Indeed.
I did talk to him about what happened. He saw the footage. He's not happy about it, about what happened at Rocket Pro. And, Damian is a coward, and he's going to try to do everything that he can to cheat, to try to win, because he can't win a match clean worth a damn. I mean, look at the match with Maximus.
That's his idol training. That's the idols there.
I mean, look at the match with Maximus. He was losing that match, and then he
Hell, look at the match with me.
Oh, look at the match with Red.
Right. Exactly. Punching the ref to retain his title. And, I mean, at the end of the day, Daddy Andy's fist is going to go right into Damian's face, as it should and as it belongs. And he's going to pick up the win, and from there, you better get a title opportunity.
Duke Laser Fist prevails. One final thought before we sign off tonight. In fantasy football,
really?
In fantasy football, the Agents of Chaos defeat C.Red Soul Touches 122.4 to 106.48. Thanks to the tremendous performance of the recently signed Bears running back Donta Foreman, who put up 31.5 points, which was more than enough for the Agents to knock out the Touches.
Really? We gonna go there?
And just for the record, right now, the Touches are sitting in the basement at 1-6. They are fantasy football's Carolina Panthers and Chicago Bears.
Actually, well, I mean, and that's in that league. In another league, I'm 5-1. So I mean, you take what you can.
Been a rough season for fantasy. I mean, you had everything going for you. Lamar Jackson went off, and I thought, okay, Lamar's got 33 points. I'm dead.
No, well, again, if you look since you bringing it up, I believe
Half your team was on bye.
right, like everybody, like Dak, CD, Ford, like really, y'all were on Dallas. My defense was on a bye, so I had to use
CeeDee
the.
Lamb is off. Joe Mixon is off.
I
Davian
was
Pierce
like,
is off. Jamar Chase is off.
oh
Prescott is
my
off.
God, right, like the people that I was like, okay, I can count on, and then I looked at my roster and I was like, damn, everybody and their mama is off this week. That's on me as a pick. But it is what it is. I mean, this league, I'm not doing so hot. In other leagues, I'm what, 3? Yeah, 3-3, something like that. So, I'll take it. Unfortunately, it's one of those things. The good part is the season isn't over. And all I have to do is make it to the playoffs. So,
Right.
I mean, if I can make it to the playoffs,
I'm gonna see you again at least twice. The
I'm
first
sure.
time you brought it up on the show that you pounded my ass. So you didn't think I was gonna take 5 minutes to crow a little bit, even though half your team was on the bench. We'll take that shit. You gotta play the games, Red.
You got to play. So it is what it is. I mean, we'll see what happens.
There is nothing in this world that I don't enjoy doing with you because it's always fun. That game meant more to me because I'm just like, I wonder if Red's sitting there looking at his phone like I am. You probably aren't, but in my mind, you are.
I wasn't. I
Of
was.
course not.
I was busy. So I really didn't focus on fantasy until late Sunday night, only because I hadn't saw any games.
And we were
So
close going. I mean, it was a close battle going into Monday, and Minnesota chose to use their other running back to get all the yards. So you had
dude,
if
let's
Cam
not
Akers
even talk about that game, because I'm like, there's no way San Francisco is going to lose this game. And oh my God, they
Kirk
found
Cousins
every
exposed
way.
that defense. That's what that was. They
I
couldn't
don't know if
stop
he
a thing.
exposed it, but at the same time, again, every dog gets lucky one time and finds it.
I'll tell you what, they missed Debo Samuel like a motherfucker.
Life is good as long as, guess what? The Bears still suck and they won't win the division.
Well, they're a little closer to winning the division.
Oh, with a 2-5 record. Come on.
Well, the leader's only 5-2. And they got
Again,
their asses handed to them on a plate.
again, I will, if you want to go there.
Oh, no. I'm not
Okay.
delusions of grandeur. I'm just saying that, the Bears defense, a little bit better than we thought, a little bit better than it was when everybody was hurt. The running game is legit because they're rushing big yards with their backups.
Well, we'll find out again.
And I'm not saying that Bagent's the answer. I'm not saying Fields isn't the answer. I'm just saying that offense looked effective against a defense with Max Crosby on it. I thought that dude was going to have 8 sacks by himself.
Well, I don't think I think Chicago did what they normally do with everybody. And that's what do they do every week? They give, or every year they give glimmers of hope
And
to everybody.
Well,
And then
we're about to have that rug pulled out Sunday night because it's a nationally televised game. We just don't do well there. And we're playing the Chargers, who have 8,000 weapons, and they're coming off a bad loss. So Sunday night at SoFi Stadium, it's the battle at the Alamo.
I mean, again, let's be honest. This past weekend, once I sat down and looked, was just one of those weekends again, where New England upsets Buffalo. Like, huh?
I thought I played Davis and Josh Allen. I play Josh Allen was my first pick or my second pick. So I play Josh. I have Justin Herbert as well at quarterback. He has not had a great season thus far. I might play him this week because he's certainly playing a beatable team.
Yeah, I mean, again, it was just, I mean, if you think about it, even the Chargers, to an end, they kept up with Kansas City. And then Mahomes does what Mahomes does and pulled away.
Yeah, the Bears lost to the Chiefs, by 40 points in the first ever Swift Bowl. So, I imagine that it's not going to go very much better against the Chargers. Next week on this program, it's the Halloween show. We're going to do it. We all said, you know what? Fuck it. We don't want to trick or treat. We're going to do this show on Halloween night. So there'll be spooks. There'll be specters. There'll be all sorts of, actually, there'll be none of that shit. It's just going to be us. No guest. Red, Pac-Man, myself, hopefully Rion feeling better. Maybe even Cactus Rack will join us once again. We'll have a lot to talk about. We'll talk about IPW. We'll talk about the roller derby. Hopefully Rion will be here to talk about Nightmare on Chicago Street. And we will preview Harvest Havoc. So spend Halloween night with your friends at the Power Hour. And why not? We're pretty good, right?
I think we are.
All right. Pac-Man, thank you. Red, thank you. Thanks to Machine for being outstanding, as I knew he would be. And thanks to Rion for playing for a little while, even though he was playing hurt. Don't miss Halloween show next Tuesday night. On behalf of the Pac-Man and the Urban Sensation, the Real Deal, and Cactus Rack, I am Steve, saying so long for now. We will see you next Tuesday night on the Power Hour.